Real deal MMA and boxing, baby. All right, so we're gonna talk about Canelo versus Jaime Munguia. Here we go. So this is Jaime Munguia's record right here. All right, so he's 27 years old. He's fought in three different weight classes: light middleweight 154, middleweight 160, super middleweight 168. 43 and 0, 34 wins by knockout. He fights orthodox with a 72-inch reach, 6 feet. So he's got some height compared to Canelo. I don't think Canelo was he 5'9", 5'8", with a 70.5-inch reach. He's fought at 147, 154, 160, 168, and 175. He's got 60 wins, 39 wins by knockout, 2 losses, 2 draws. Arguably a couple more losses than that, some gifts. One definitely against Golovkin, that first and second fight. I was going to give to Golovkin, especially the first fight. Second fight was more competitive, but I would have given both those fights to Golovkin. Third fight, Canelo just walked over him. He's like 40 plus years old at that point. Um, but now he's fighting a guy who's 27 years old. He's on the come up. Granted, his resume isn't that great. John Ryder, decent fighter. Sergey Derevyanchenko was a good fight. That was where we got to see this kid really dig down and um fight out a tough bout. And he prevailed. Canelo, on the other hand, has a really, really stacked resume. Let's look. So Jermell Charlo was coming up from 2 weight classes. John Ryder, these were pretty boring fights, pretty much boring fights. So I mean, he couldn't, the Gennady Golovkin fight, pretty much from that last win when he beat Caleb Plant. His last 1, 2, 3, 4 fights have been pretty boring. He hasn't finished these guys. He seems to be on like a little bit of a decline when it comes to his finishing capability, Canelo. Um, I mean, he's still Canelo Alvarez. He's got a lot of experience. We're talking how many? 64 pro fights. So, I mean, we'll just have to see what happens. I'm still going to lean towards Canelo Alvarez to win this fight because he's got the experience. He's got great defense for the most part. His head movement, his slipping, you know what I'm saying? He's able to roll with the punches real well. And this is a huge step up in competition, man, for this kid, man, for Jaime. It's a huge step up. I mean, Sergey and John Ryder, those are good fighters, but John Ryder, I mean, I don't know, man. All I'm trying to say is I think it's going to be a closer fight than most people expect it to be. I think the kid's going to put up a valiant effort. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some kind of an upset, but I highly doubt it. I think that there's not going to be a Ryan Garcia moment and Devin Haney moment this week. I think we got that last week. We need to calm down. Everybody's going to be like, "Oh my God, are we in for another big upset?" You never know what can happen. It's boxing, but you never see Canelo really get hurt, even when he was in there against Bivol. Bivol's not really a power puncher per se, um, but he's more volume, strategic. He's a boxer's boxer. So, but even up at 175, he's never really been hurt, Canelo. I've never really seen him hurt, except one of these fights a long time ago, like in his early on in his professional career, he got rocked by somebody. He got seriously hurt. I can't find the video, but he was hurt by some guy. It was in Mexico, and man, he was stumbling for a second, but he comes back to win the fight. Canelo's got a pretty good chin. Um, this kid, Jaime, I believe he was dropped against Derevyanchenko. Uh, where is that? They don't even have it up here. That's pretty crazy. Um, I do know that I think he was dropped, and then he dropped Sergey. So It was a close fight. This Jaime Munguia fight. Versus Sergey. And Sergey's good. Sergey's really good. He's 38 years old. I know he's got 5 losses. But he's been in there against some tough opponents. I mean, Daniel Jacobs, Golovkin arguably could have won that fight. Jamal Charlo, Carlos Adames, Joshua Conley, Jaime Munguia. I mean, these are really. I mean, for being in his 13th professional fight, he's in there against Daniel Jacobs. So. Um, I mean, let's be serious here. Uh, he's been in there against top-notch opponents. Granted, I think it's because these Ukrainian fighters, they fight long amateur careers. They go to like the Olympics, and they come in to boxing later, like in their mid-20s, as to where in the United States or whatever, they start at like 17, 18 years old. They're professional already, get racking up wins against cans. These guys from like Ukraine or Eastern Europe, they come in and they're fighting world champions in their couple, 2, 3 fights in. Same thing with like Naoya Inoue. I think it was like his second or third fight. He was fighting for championships. Pretty much his whole professional career is world championship fights. Anyway, the task at hand here, we're talking about Jaime Munguia and Canelo. I think Canelo is going to be a little too much for this kid. We're going to see this kid he's going to drop to 43-1. It's going to be a decision victory for Canelo. Unanimous decision. He'll probably take like eight rounds off the kid. It might be interesting in the first few rounds. He may steal a few rounds early from Canelo, as Canelo's warming up, figuring shit out. But I just don't see this kid being enough to beat him. I think really the fight that should have happened is Canelo versus David Benavidez. But of course, politics, boxing politics. This kid Canelo's avoiding him, and now you have what Benavidez has to move up. He's been like the mandatory guy to fight for a title while this guy hogs the 168-pound division. He should be fighting for a title, and David Benavidez, I mean, and instead now he's got to go up to 175 and fight a world-class boxer like Gvozdyk. That's going to be a good fight. Now, Benavidez isn't going to be have that huge size advantage like he used to at 168. Now at 175, he's still big. But now you're going in there against these guys, world-class guys that have a little bit more size. Gvozdyk's no joke, but that's the fight that should happen. Canelo versus Benavidez. And of course, always gets screwed up. But that's it, man. I just want to make a quick video because I haven't been on here recently doing this. I've been making shorts, and I've been getting some views with that. But like, share, subscribe, help me out. I know I don't have the greatest videos yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to do these YouTube videos, because if you put too much stuff in the video, like on YouTube, they'll copyright you, and then your video won't get shared to the public. So I can't put too much stuff in my video, like watch YouTube videos and show certain things from certain fights, because then they'll say, oh, they'll censor it, or they'll want it taken off. So I'm learning all this as I go. So if you guys can just help me out, like, share, comment, subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.